So picture this. You're in the middle of a completely normal conversation, and someone says the word dolphins. And your brain, without asking your permission, obviously immediately offers up the fact that dolphins actually have names for each other, like actual individual names, specific whistles that function exactly like names. You know this. You have known this for years. You have absolutely no memory of ever learning it, but it is just in there, permanently installed. It's just taking up space right next to the fact that the color orange was named after the fruit and not the other way around, and the fact that a day on Venus is actually longer than a year on Venus. Oh, and something highly specific about how medieval people thought hedgehogs stole milk from cows. All of it just sitting in your head, fully intact, ready to go, and completely uninvited. But here's what makes this genuinely strange. You can tell someone that otters hold hands while they sleep so they don't drift apart from each other. You can tell them that the inventor of the Pringles can is actually buried in one. You can tell them that when you get a brain freeze, it is technically just your brain trying to warm up your blood. You remember all of that with perfect clarity, but you cannot remember the name of the person you met at that party last Saturday. You cannot remember if you took your vitamins this morning. You literally cannot remember what you walked into this room to get that information. It's just gone, completely gone. Like it was never even there at all. The useless things are permanent. The important things evaporate. And you have been trying to make sense of this your entire life. You've also been in this specific situation. Someone's telling a story at dinner, and they mention something historical. Maybe they get a date wrong. Maybe they just confidently say something that you know is not quite right, and you feel it. That thing in your chest. The quiet, internal debate about whether to say something, because you know the actual answer. Not because you studied it. Not because it even matters. But because at some point years ago, you were watching a documentary at midnight that you cannot even fully remember watching, and this one specific fact went in and stayed in. And now, here it is. Inconveniently. At dinner while you're trying to decide if correcting someone about something completely irrelevant is actually worth the energy. Sometimes you say it, sometimes you just watch them be wrong, stay quiet, and feel slightly insane for the whole rest of the evening. But here's what's actually going on. Your memory is not random, and it is not broken. It just works differently from most people's. Psychologists call this curiosity-driven encoding. See, your brain does not save information equally. It saves information based on one thing and one thing only: how surprising it was in the moment you first encountered it. When your brain hits something that breaks a pattern it thought it understood something unexpected, something that makes it think, wait, that cannot be right. It releases dopamine, just a small reward signal, and dopamine encodes deeply, deeply enough that, years later, you still remember the exact fact that triggered it. There's research from the University of California that actually confirmed this. They found that curiosity activates the brain's reward circuitry and its memory systems simultaneously. Meaning, your brain basically gave itself a tiny reward every single time you stumbled across something genuinely interesting. So it kept everything that came with that reward. The dolphins with names, the orange, the Pringles can. All of it got a reward signal, and all of it stayed. But the things that don't stay are the things that came with no signal, no surprise, no wonder, no moment of genuine interest. Just information you were supposed to remember, simply because it was practical. Those they slide right out, because your brain just saw no reason to hold on to them. I mean, think back to when you were a kid. Were you the one sitting at the breakfast table reading the back of the cereal box just because it was there, and there was nothing else to look at? Were you the one who came home from school, not talking about what you learned in class, but about one completely random thing a teacher said in passing that had absolutely nothing to do with the actual lesson? Were you the one who asked questions that were technically not wrong, but that made the adult in the room visibly have to stop and think about whether they even had an answer? You were probably told you asked too many questions, or that you were just full of random information, or that you knew a lot of things that weren't particularly useful. But what nobody ever told you was what that actually was. What was really happening was that your brain had a higher than average sensitivity to the interesting, to the surprising, to the thing that just didn't quite fit. And a brain like that, it collects evidence of that everywhere it goes. It always has, and it always will. But there's something else this brain does that you might not have fully connected yet. It does the exact same thing with people. The random fact collecting and the deep listening. They come from the exact same place. I mean, think about it. You remember the specific thing someone said once about their childhood that they mentioned really quickly and just moved past. You remember the tiny detail someone told you months ago about something that bothered them? You remember the exact wording someone used when they were trying to explain something difficult. You remember that your friend mentioned once that they hated a specific thing, and you have quietly just never done that thing around them ever since, even though they definitely don't even remember saying it. Your brain filed all of that under worth keeping. The exact same way it filed the Dolphins and the Otters and the Pringles can, because your brain does not separate interesting facts from interesting people. It just keeps what it finds meaningful. And honestly, it finds almost everything meaningful. So here's what you actually are. You're not the person who knows useless things. You are the person whose brain never decided that the world was ordinary enough to stop paying attention to. Most people just walk through their days on autopilot, taking in only what they need, filtering out anything that isn't immediately practical. But your brain, it never learned to do that filter. It just kept looking at the cereal box, at the documentary, at the thing someone said at the dinner table 4 years ago, at the random detail buried inside some completely unrelated article. It kept looking, and it kept collecting, and everything it found interesting, it kept forever. That is not a cluttered mind. That is a curious one. And genuine curiosity, at the level you carry it, is one of the rarest things a brain can have. PsychPop is built for minds exactly like yours. So hit subscribe, because everything here is made for the kind of person whose brain never stopped paying attention.